Hey there, Goa fans. Mark DJ Solitaire here with episode 32 of Retro Goa Explorations, my weekly series in which I present a track from the 1990s Goa psychedelic dance movement, tracks that I remember from back in the 90s. And we're going in sequence here, and we're in the 95-96 season. So tracks that I remember from, autumn of 95 through to about summer of 96. And not entirely in order, but we're checking out some of the tracks in that period. And this one I remember very distinctly because I remember when I got this CD, because it was a really exciting event. I used to go weekly, or in fact, probably a couple of times weekly, to the Tokyo record shops, Cisco Techno store in Shibuya, and then also the Wave CD store. It's a great shop that had a couple of different locations. And I remember in early 96, apparently, is when the CD was released. And I do remember when I walked into the Wave store in Shibuya and went to the trance section or wherever it was and came across this beauty. And of course, have the Order Ordinata Volume 1, having been my first ever CD in the genre, I was beyond excited to get my hands on this one. And of course, as soon as I picked it up, I looked at the back, and the first track was by Space Drive, and it was like, yoink, definitely getting this one. Although I knew I would anyway. And that's the track we're going to take a look at today. Geo-Matrix, which, sounds like geometrics, which sounds like geometric, which is kind of like what I'm wearing, which is what a lot of the music, in a sense, really sounds like on a bigger system. More so than when you're listening at home, I think. I think some of the shaping really comes across differently. So of course, this track fit very much, given that Olli was producing, so much fractal and fluorescent clothing, not particularly what I'm wearing here, but I wanted to go for something that was a little bit more geometric. And this is one of the 4 tracks that Olli Wisdom of Space Tribe would produce with Simon Posford. They were all produced in around 94, possibly into 95, but we know that Olli had told me that, his first track without Simon that he produced in the UK was The Great Spirit, which he played in October 95, so it was produced at some point before then. So I suspect that, this was at the latest in the first part of 95. Now, the engineering, the sound on this track is quite different from some of the other ones. It's really clean and lean. So it's got a very sort of transparent texture and beautiful rubbery bass line. So it doesn't sound quite as robust and a little bit sort of granular as some of the other ones. So it's a really, really great one. So this CD came out officially, I believe the promos went out in January 96 and got into the stores in February 96. So this track is one I actually don't have any clear recollections of having heard it played out back then. Of course, it was a real favorite of mine for several reasons, not just, of course, because I love all of Simon's work and I love all of Olli's work. But the content of this track is phenomenal, harmonically, melodically, thematically as well, with what the spoken samples are saying. And there's a couple of absolutely brilliant effects in here that I just love. So how about we give it a listen? Geo-Matrix by Space Tribe. Okay, so this kind of cicada-like sound. Olli would go on to write a track called Cicadas on DMT. This is what that sounds like. This sort of combination of otherworldly and insect sounds and human sounds. And this interesting rhythmic pattern here. And beautiful harmonic and rhythmic pattern. It gets mirrored here. Listen to how many notes are going on in that bass line. Really rubbery quality.
Combinations of geometric patterns, really combinations of notes that play out an extraterrestrial message.
Okay, so that whole spoken sample just really fits with how a lot of us were experiencing the music back then. I love that bleepy sound. Not nearly enough back then or now sounds like that. But this whole concept of the music as being some extraterrestrial message and the combination of notes, really brilliant sample. There's the rhythmic elements here. And this sound is something that, you know, would become more familiar in later hallucinogen work. It's just really this otherworldly sort of kind of voice-like characteristic. And that rhythm. Notice again, it's pitched, but not with notes. And then that chord, that hallucinogen kind of sound, and also, you know, quite a characteristic one used by Space Drive. You know, and it's not overtly melodic. It's not like there's a melody here that you're going to sing, but there's, you know, melodic content, really great combinations of notes that play out an extraterrestrial message. That bounce. And then this sample. And you know how these patterns have melodic, harmonic, rhythmic shaping to it? Ends up becoming very geometric. Listen how this is climbing up and going up with those beautiful intervals that we're used to hearing in the tracks. How many layers? Listen to how many, you know, similar stuff, but how much it's compounded. And then this incredible effect here. This incredible pitch slide for those few measures and then back up. And then this is just, you know, moving in all kinds of directions, left and right, front and back. All these voices in the air. I mean, it really does sound characteristic of some of what we would recognize in the following year as hallucinogen work. That bass line still going, and then that other figuration in there from the opening. A little percussive accent. Notice with the snares, some really interesting builds. Just like gorgeous. The textures are really, really clear here. I mean, it's brilliantly engineered for the period, and really great sounds. And then that zap. Again, the way you hear everything happening at the same time, and then that line. And then this sound that we'd hear in snarling Black Mabel. it's just such an interesting drive to it, isn't it? Notice how it's not pounding like a lot of music now. The figurations give the momentum, as well as the textures. These upper frequencies here. Accent. And again, you know, a lot of it's the rhythm and the sort of where on the frequency range it's located. And you still hear that bass line going in the background, just how it's, you know, that really hypnotic undercurrent. Now we're gonna hear some more of these voices. That sample rather first. I just feel like your brain is short-circuiting while the sample goes all over. Here's those voices. Sort of female one and a male one. Cicadas. There's that accent. Beautiful fade out here. Ain't that a beauty? I mean, such an incredible track for so many reasons. I mean, the textures, as I said, are beautifully clear. The sounds, you know, the rubbery sound, it was really, I thought, quite revolutionary, quite new at the time. The next time I remember really hearing that particular sound is in the Hallucinogen remix of Jana, the Joke track, where there was really that kind of same kind of lean texture and rubbery sound. And then, you know, those sort of guttural, kind of, you know, really raspy voiced kind of things that are going on, and just absolutely amazing. And again, I love that spoken sample and that whole theme of, you know, harmonic, you know, combinations of notes that play out an extraterrestrial message. I mean, I don't know where he found that sample. Olli was so good at finding bizarre spoken samples, but that one is really quite brilliant. So so there we go. One of the 4 Space Tribe tracks of Olli and Simon. So first one that I came across was Machine Elf. Then on the first tip comp, then there was Flip Out the Dolphin, which was on the second, what was it called? Concept and Dance. Now, that one was actually part of a live mix of In the Hands of the Shaman that I don't recall seeing until Olli's album came out on Spirit Zone in late 96, early 97. And then there was this one. So it's basically, that was the 3rd Space Tribe track that I heard. And it's a doozy, still a favorite. Again, I don't really recall having heard it played out then. I played it out at ZNA in 2019, and I kind of started my set with it, kind of in that I played a little ambient mishmash intro of the 3 unreleased tracks that Simon had been involved in that I played at the end of my 2019 set. And so in 2022, sorry, I might have misspoken there. So I played it at my opening of 2022, and I did that ambient thing to sort of kind of bridge the previous 3 years. And then I wanted a Space Tribe track to really start the dance portion because Olli had died just a year before. So that was that. And people were asking me afterwards, what was that track of Simon's that you played at the beginning? And I was like, oh, the ambient stuff? No, the dance one. I was like, it's actually not Simon's, Space Tribe. So of course we recognize Simon's work in that. How could we not? But definitely there's Olli in there also. And there's a little bit of Olli in kind of in a whole lot of the scene, as we know, just at the 2-year anniversary since he left us. So cheers to you, Olli. Thanks for this brilliant track. Great one with the great Simon Posford and Olli Wisdom. I'll sign off now and present the whole track without my talking over it. So I'm Mark, DJ Solitaire here, leaving you with Space Tribe, Geo-Matrix.
Combinations of geometric patterns, really combinations of notes that play out an extraterrestrial message.